Crazy day today. Crazy day. Yeah, I went for a long drive. Man, crazy adventurous day, man. I went for a hell of a drive. Um, I just got back. I left about 10 a.m. Just got back a couple of hours ago. It's about 10 o'clock. Went for a drive up to the high country in Victoria. Um, I went through so up north towards King Lake, past Hillsville, all the way up to Marysville, and then past a couple of the other towns there in the ranges. Can't remember what they're called, but ended up through Mount Borbor to it's called Thompson's Dam. Did like 40 k's off road. It's a beautiful day. It's just sunny, just that, those winter, sparkly, sunny, fresh, cold days. I was planning it all week. Just wanted to go drive my soul out, Most of it was just silent, just meditation. It wasn't until just on the way back, stuck in traffic. Just put on some usual content to listen to. But a solid 5 to 6 hours silent, peaceful, therapeutic driving. Yeah, it's just a pretty violent roller coaster of emotion. You go through that confidence and that motivation. Sorry, I'm selling this. I've tried some cologne on this. It's in my pocket. You just go through 100% untouchable confidence, and then you go to, you start thinking about all the current stresses and anxieties, and then you're just like, battling with yourself, arguing with yourself, convincing yourself. You go that deep that I just started, the roads got pretty serious, man, like really dangerous high country roads, in the mountains, especially off-road. It was all like just soggy and wet, you know what I mean? I'm like literally sliding everywhere. But after a few hours, I'm literally just not even conscious. I'm not even conscious, my body's just, physically reacting to whatever the road kind of demands. And probably halfway through, I found myself detached, from my conscious thoughts and emotions while I was driving. I wouldn't say I went into some kind of state, some kind of trance state, but it was like more just a flow, when you're in that flow and you're just 100% in the present. And I've been there a few times before, I'm there, every now and again, but this time it wasn't that, it wasn't positive or negative. It was like, I was just present, I was aware of my current deepest anxieties and my deepest stresses, and I realized they're not actually, I mean, they are kind of affecting my life, but it's more someone else's life, you know, as a result for the, I mean, I wasn't able to like I said in my other videos, I wasn't able to, you know, fulfill my end of the promise and the guarantee, and I really left a good friend of mine in a really, really bad situation. Really bad situation. And, I mean, he knows how out of my control it was. Maybe not to the full extent. How out of control, how much of it became out of my control. And I realized, like, I mean, I genuinely lost a lot of sleep over this, and I've been putting off this long drive. Like, I planned to go for at least minimum, I mean, all day, 7 to 8 hours, you know, I planned it. So I've been holding it off for like 2 weeks. And I was just like, no, you gotta go, you know, regardless of your current state. This is something you set out to do, to deal with, you know. I mean, the walks, I can't really go for, what am I gonna go for, like a 5-hour walk, you know. Plus with the driving you get a lot more scenery. I mean, the scenery out in the country, in Australia, rural, you know, like state forests, it's just, it's unbelievable, man. It's so unbelievably, like, picturesque, and especially, like, on a glistening day like it was today. Maybe I'll chuck something up, I'll just chuck a little snap up in the edit of where I ended up. But just, you know, I got to this lake at the dam, at Thompson's Dam, Mount Bauble. And I got right to the end of it. There's like a little, at the end of the road, there's like a little corner spot where you just park, you get off the road. And I got out and I just walked up to you could just see the lake and the dam. It's just mountains, huge mountains right in front of you, lake, and you could literally hear, I mean, you would be able to hear like a small pebble tumbling off some hill, you know, so far away. You just hear it tumbling down in the distance. It's just I mean, it's too quiet. It's too quiet. It was. I couldn't tell if my ears were blocked. I think my ears were a bit blocked. I could not hear a thing, but like, you know, every few minutes a car would drive past, and like, you know, I could hear it like normal. So, yeah, I really had to calm myself to be able to get into that present, unconscious state. I mean, I did not feel that I was conscious in the like present moment. I was, I mean, if you know what I'm talking about, like, it's like you're unconscious, but you know you're present, but you're, man, how do I explain? I mean, it takes hours to get into that, like, it's like 3 or 4 hours. And then I literally just, I didn't feel like I was driving. I was just watching my body just drive the car. And I was going pretty fast, like, you know, pretty fast for these sketchy roads. And I'm just kind of looking at myself, just brake, oh, you know, felt a bit of understeer coming, a little bit more brake, you know, get the weight down on the front, the hairpin, I'm just like, just watching my body react, you know, and while it's doing that, I'm in a completely another place, so like mentally, you know. So I think I'm going to practice that a lot more with meditation, you know. Maybe try and access that state, you know, quicker. I don't know. Yeah, because when I got back, it felt better. Like I felt a lot more calm. Still being conscious of, you know, all my big mistakes, you know, but just knowing 1000% what my intention was and what my plan was, you know, to help these guys out. I mean, I know 1000% my heart's intent was to help their situation and my situation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with them, but there's nothing I can do at all. So I guess it is going to still affect me mentally. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't planning to record and share it because it was just like it wasn't like a random drive. I had to be in a certain area that far away in the southeast, which could have just been like an hour drive. But I planned to leave at a certain time so I could spend, you know, 6 or 7 hours like going through the ranges and the mountains, like almost the longest route possible. Anyway, let's talk fitness and gym. Where am I at now? Currently about 70 kilos, about 16 to 17% body fat composition. Mastered the body weight pretty good over the last couple months. I'm smashing like 20 to 25 push-ups on the incline, on the couch, pull-ups like 20, 25, chin over bar, dips. I'm strapping a plate on the dips, which is like 20 kilos on the belt. I'll smash like not that many with the 20 kilos, like 3 or 4, but if I strap on like, you know, 15 kilos, I'm pumping easy 10 reps. There's the bro. It's crazy how when you become seriously awake and conscious to, you know, your current state, it's like, you know, you feel a bit too late. Like, you know, everyone's got that delayed kind of, that anxiety of, you know, you should have been here 3 or 4 years ago. But when you become conscious, just knowing your state of consciousness, how, I mean, like rare I mean, when you never really know anyone around you, you've never really met anyone ever, in person at least, that can understand what the hell you're going through. Your perspective on your age really, really, really shifts, right? Like, when I was 21, 22, still in uni, I mean, it's just that typical student anxiety, like, you know, I just felt older and older every year, you know what I mean? I had to graduate back when I was in aviation. I was like, you know, you gotta graduate, get your CPL, you know, by 24, 25, you gotta, you know, you have to be in the airline by 30, you know what I mean? That way, you know, if you want to get married and, you know, make a good career out of it, you don't want to be flying, you know what I mean, till you're 50 or 60. You know, you don't, like, with pilots, it's, you got like a 10, 15 year window of really making your career, you know what I mean, without your family falling apart, because you're spending, like, you know, most of the year overseas. So it's I mean, look at the mindset, man. Look at the personality, the identity, you know. I felt old at 23. I felt I was too old at 23, 24. Now 29 almost in a couple of weeks, and I'm realizing how young. I've never felt younger, never felt more present and young, because it's time is relative, right? It's relative, so it's relative to your physical environment, right? I mean, you could feel, I mean, it's a pretty basic understanding. You could, you know, you could be 50 and feel so young in your environment, in your surrounding environment, right? Or you could be 18 and you could feel like the oldest object in your environment, you know what I mean? So it's like when you're awake and you become conscious, it's like you separate, you become objective. You have this objective view on where you are, and you know the level of understanding and consciousness that this person has, and you look around and there's like no other human being that you met physically in person, other than the one I mentioned in my first video. Especially when, like, your whole community is full of, there's a lot of youth, a lot of middle age, and a lot of elderly. Especially the teachers and the lecturers and the speakers. When you go to the corner mosque, you go down and, you know, I mean, I grew up going to the youth mosque, which, you know, they like to teach, you know, the teenagers as young as possible to be able to give the sermons as soon as they could get to become a sheikh. So we literally had some of these sheikhs at like 16, 15, 16 years old, right, giving a sermon to like 1,500 dads and business owners and bosses and tradies and whoever was in there, drug dealers. I mean, you don't know. You got 50 drug dealers in there. You got 50 addicts in there. You got, who knows, literally, you know. And then you got like this 16-year-old giving the sermon. I mean, we didn't know what to feel. Like you feel inspired. You know, almost. Was it like? You know, it's almost this condescending, but inspiring, but, you know, just all these conflicting emotions. I don't know, man. Look, it's a normal experience, right? You know, you grow up religious communities and religious families, like it's all just life, really. I mean, it's not that what we went through, it's like how far deep we've gone. That's what we cannot get our head around, honestly. Yeah, but I wanted to talk about how, I don't know how I was going to try and link it to, my progress with the fitness and my body. But I was trying to link it with, once you become conscious of where you currently are, because I always had that anxiety that, I wasn't making the progress quick enough, and I already felt too old, like at 25, especially being in a relationship. I was like, I should already be there, I should already be this jacked, I should already look like this, and I could never make the progress. And now, like, waking up, the consciousness, I mean, like, I got the supplements, and I got, the diet and the energy and the discipline, but the consciousness, breaking through the psychological barriers, going down deep, right to the inside the core of the bunker, finding that victim, picking him up and saying, look, we are capable. We both know we are capable of achieving this fucking power, right? This amount of progress. You need to stop building these unbreakable goddamn barriers, because all the trauma that you went through, wasn't on you, wasn't your fault. And then when the victim and the shadow can recognize truly that it wasn't to blame, right? That's when the integration happens. And when the integration happens, you start, the reps just feel lighter. You just, I'm curling the 18s and the 20s, even though I know they're maybe a bit too heavy. Like, I'm lifting them, I don't know if the tissues, like, the muscles just over training. The strength is like too stubborn. It's too stubborn to, like, my nervous system has become too stubborn to give in to pain. I'm smashing like 10 kilometers on the bike, in the gym, sub 20 minutes, about like 19 minutes, 40 something, 50 something, on level 8 as well. Power level, it's like, I can't remember the watts, but it's like, I think the max level is like level 12, so it's not the stamina, man. I'm dead too, honestly. 3Ks in, I'm dead. 3Ks in, I can't breathe. But it's like, it's scary. It's like when you become aware, for years you watch the Goggins videos, and it's like, you're watching him and you kind of know what he's on about, about, okay, you got to become a psycho, and it's fucked up, and it's like, you train not being in that state that he's talking about, but the state that he's talking about, but you're not in that state. And even knowing the state that he's talking about, even that kind of pushes through a lot of your PBs, right? But when you're consciously in that state that he's talking about, it's just like, you literally become the general of your physical body. So your consciousness, it separates from the body, and then it starts commanding the body. And the body is just screaming and whining and absolutely, like, begging, because it knows every genuine excuse. There's genuine excuses. It's not like, I'm tired now, how we're going to recover. It's because, if you got days or whatever to recover, you're not an athlete, you know what I mean? It's not that. It's like, knowing, okay, you destroy your hammy, your ass on this bike. You know, you can't, well, okay, now you have to call in sick. All right, well, then you get up the medical certificates, and it's like, there's genuine excuses. Like, you know, genuine excuses, but obviously nothing's strong enough to stop the pain. And you just command yourself like a general, just commanding, like a drill sergeant. Just this. It's the warrior integration, right? It's the warrior integration. I never really talk about any of the 4 quadrants and the 4 archetypes, because I'm still learning so much and I'm not versed enough, so I don't feel confident trying to explain. I'm confident. I'm really confident in my understanding of the structure of my subconscious, but I'm not confident articulating. But I will. It'll come out gradually, I guess. Just gonna blow out these candles. Just got the scented candles. Yeah, been cooking up the steaks. The smell just gets in, that nice garlic butter. See, like I mentioned when I first spoke about this Jungian research, right? This scientific theories, all the quadrants, all the archetypes have their shadow. And the shadow of the warrior is the sadomasochist. And the first victim of the sadomasochist is you. And then it really starts to become out of control. I mean, and it's your friends, and your family, people you genuinely care about. God help the people that you don't care about. They will become true victims of the shadow warrior. But once the warrior starts to integrate, the warrior still has, he's still a warrior. You still have this, it's still the same energy and the discipline, right? But he's no longer the sadist, because he's taking the suffering off himself, off your own self, and he's forcing the shadow to come out through pain and suffering. So it's like, instead of using the energy to cause the suffering onto your conscious self and to your friends and family, you turn it inwards when you begin to integrate. And he starts ripping out the victim, the culprit, right? Because he becomes aware. You become conscious to who the culprit was, and it's like, wakes up, it's like, all right, there you are. You're the fucking reason. It's you. You're the fucking reason I'm 10 years behind. You're the fucking reason I look like this. I think like this. I eat like this. I behave like this. You're the reason. And then when the shadow warrior, when the warrior becomes conscious of his shadow, of your own shadow, then he turns his power to making that shadow integrate, whether it fucking likes it or not. The warrior, right, is is a transpersonal commitment to something, a cause, or either to someone or to something, right? Like, you know, to God or to a religion or to a leader, like a king, or, you know, it's a transpersonal commitment, and the warrior will achieve and fulfill his mission, his commitment. I mean, he's committed until death. That's the discipline, right? So it will integrate the shadow if it kills you. If it kills you, the victim will die. Something is going to die. So you're on that bike, you know, it's like everyone, so Goggins speaks about it as well. It's just this universal, it's the universal lexicon, right? Battling the demons. They're not fucking demons. It's you. It's your own self, man. It's your shadow. You know, it's your beliefs, it's your subconscious, it's your personality. I mean, you're dead at, 2 or 3 Ks in, you're dead. You physically, you feel your face puffing from the blood pressure, like, and you're genuinely puffed. You know, when you're like, it's not just you're puffed out, you know, it's you're exhausted, so you can't lift a towel to dry the sweat. You literally, you know, your podcast or your music starts playing, you literally, it's tremendous effort just to lift the arm and click pause when the fucking YouTube ad comes on, or skip or whatever, you know, and you're only 3 Ks in, 4 Ks in, you know, and you genuinely accept that, okay, look, we're going to go hard, we're going to kill ourselves, we're not going to get to the 10 Ks, we're not going to get to the target, no chance. But you genuinely accept that. You even, like, you can feel your shadow and your warrior kind of like negotiating. You're like, oh, okay, you know what, maybe not, maybe we're actually not going to hit the 10 Ks, but we're still going to die trying, right? But then you kind of like, I mean, I don't know how you keep going. You look at your legs and like you're cycling, right? You're just trying to be stubborn, and you're cycling, and then deep down, really deep down, you know that the warrior is gonna get his way. The warrior is gonna be victorious, because the victim, right, which is the shadow, the sadomasochist, the self-abusing, self-hating, self-sabotaging, masochistic psychopath, knows that it does not possess the energy that the warrior has, which is discipline and commitment or death, right? This thing is a victim. It wants to stay alive. It knows it cannot defeat the warrior, the true archetype. And the victim loses the battle. And it's a fucking war, man. It's a war. But you do the 10 Ks. Yeah, I get off the bike, and my physical like my body, my organs, they're physically not able, like my heart, my lungs, it's abuse, because, you know, you're 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 using something metaphysical to control the physical. It's abuse, because the metaphysical, I mean, can just push it until death, right? So they're physically not able to. So the last one I ran, I did the 10Ks. I literally got like the same time within like 5 seconds, right? I got up, and I knew I just had to calm myself down because I was going to throw up. And I just walked around back to the sauna area, to the change rooms. I turned the tap on, and I was like 80% about to throw up. Oh, man, even describing the feeling, I'm sure, a lot of you guys that have just pushed yourselves, you know the feeling. You physically can't handle the state that you're in. You can't stand up. You can't really sit down. You can't walk. You can't breathe. You feel like you're just going to die. It's death. You feel like death is coming because you can't do anything. Like when you sit down, you feel like throwing up. But then you can't walk. You can't stand up. You just have to go through like this. It's like, honestly, like 4 or 5 minutes of like trying not to die, man. Trying not to die. You know what I mean? It's more than just like you're out of breath. You're desperately out of breath. It's like a sick, nauseous feeling, that you can barely stay conscious. I remember when I did my last run, my head felt like it was going to explode. Honestly, I had the biggest headache. I had such a headache, I got up, had my coconut water, sculled it, came back down. I just calmed myself down. I didn't throw up. Even after I showered and like calmed down, relaxed, I still, got my breath back. Everything was good, but my head was still pounding. Like the blood, I think it was the blood pressure. My metaphysical energy took my physical body so far beyond its capability. Like, so far beyond. It's like you've never kicked a soccer ball in your life, and then you join like EPL Champions League, right? And you literally have like the government is there with a sniper to your head, literally, to your whole family, and your whole family's gonna die if you don't win in the game, if you don't score 3 goals, 5 goals, and win the Champions League final, right? You've never kicked a damn soccer ball in your life. It's more extreme than that, honestly. I know how extreme that sounds, but it feels more extreme than that. You know what I mean? And man, you do it. You do it. Your whole family's gonna die, man. You do it. You just do it. Your body just does it. It's 100 times out of its physical capable possibility, But when you got to do it, you do it. Anyway, I think that's long enough. Yeah. I guess I just got to apply the same thing to the business, huh? Just got to apply the same consciousness and just get it done. It's the warrior.